Rakesh? Thank you. Jai Baba. Nothing is real but God. Nothing matters but love for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you, beloved Baba, and Jai Baba to all of you. Welcome back on the forum. We are reading this book called, wonderful book called More Conversations with the Awakener by Bal Natu. We are on page number 20. This is a little longer chapter. We might have to stay on for a little longer time. Let's see. I'll try to finish it by 6:30, but it could extend a little. Go ahead.
Personality, individuality, and reality. May I tell you a story? I asked you one day. How nice! I would be delighted to hear a story instead of answering questions. And your countenance glowed with a mischievous smile. Well, the questions may come later, I cautioned. Anyway, this is a good change, and I am fond of stories. I gathered my wits, cleared my throat, and began. Once upon a time, there lived a clown. He became very popular because when people attended his performances, they forgot their troubles and felt light-hearted. Everyone praised the curative powers of the laughter the clown was able to induce, and his shows were always sold out. Yet, the irony was that the clown himself was sinking deeper and deeper into personal despair as he was unable to face the challenges of his own life. Finally, at the end of his rope, he paid a visit incognito to a renowned psychologist. After hearing his problems in detail, the psychologist said, I strongly advise you to attend some performances by the famous clown who is currently on tour here in our city. But I am that clown, the patient exclaimed. Even though the psychologist was an expert on every kind of human quirk, he could not, he got such a shock from this unforeseen turn of events that he swooned in his chair. He had helped many persons recover from their traumas, yet this forthright reply overwhelmed him.
I don't want to read the whole thing again. In short, the person who makes others laugh and a person who reduces the depression of other persons through his uh, whatever you call it, jokes and clowngiri, he himself is in depression. And when he goes to the psychologist, he is recommending that why don't you see that show, because you'll feel nice and light-hearted. And here the word is uh, the clown says, but I am that clown. And when the psychologist heard that, there's a saying over here, even though the psychologist was an expert on every kind of human quirk would mean idiosyncrasies. Idiosyncrasies would mean that peculiar behavior. He was shocked to know that the person who can make so many people laugh and reduce their tension is himself under pressure and under depression. And when he heard this, he swooned. Swoon means he fainted. That means he was so shocked to know that this person is also going through such a terrible dilemma.
The clown took a bottle of smelling salts and set about reviving the distinguished psychologist. What a comical tragedy! The clown began saying softly, Sir, I am okay. Please don't worry about me. Come back to your senses. You are in your own consulting room.
Now the psychologist is supposed to attend to or counsel the patient. Here the patient is telling the psychologist, don't worry, I am okay. Just wake up. You are in your own consulting room.
The psychologist soon revived and the clown left the doctor's office. But as he came out, he was struck with the realization that he would have to seek the answer to his problems from another source deeper than psychology. And as far as I know, I concluded, that's the end of the story. I don't know what happened after that. And I looked at you to see your reaction. With a serious look, you answered, the wounds of the heart are not totally healed by the sciences of the mind. I gazed at you thoughtfully and said, life is so ironic, such a quizzical joke. It makes me wonder how I can adapt my personality to face all the bizarre situations that come up in life. To be frank, I do not know what personality really is or how it can be effectively molded.
So the story ends there. Bal Natu ji says to Baba that this is what I know. And I looked at
He
you.
knows it is to go into something deeper.
Okay. Yeah. So the clown comes out
Realizes.
and realizes that this kind of help is no good. I'll have to go into something deeper than psychology. We all know that psychology is a study of the human mind and behavior. So he says, I need to go some more deeper than psychology. And that's where the story ends. And the author looks at Baba for his reaction. And with a serious look, Baba is answering, the wounds of the heart are not totally healed by the sciences of the mind. All this psychology and stuff like that, are connected with the mind. But somewhere where your heart is hurt in terms of emotions, in terms of so many other aspects. So, sorry? Feelings, yeah, feelings and emotions. Psychology may not be good enough to attend to that. I gazed at you thoughtfully and said, life is so ironic. Ironic would mean contrary to what you are expecting. It's very ironic. We all know that we expect certain things and things happen totally the contrary. So the author says life is so ironic. Such a quizzical joke. Quizzical joke wouldn't, quiz is like a puzzle. It is such a joke and it is so puzzling that it is not very clear about it. It makes me wonder how I can adapt my personality to face all the bizarre situations that come up in life. Bizarre would mean unbizarre, would mean strange, unconventional. We have to face certain situations in life which are not normal. They are very unconventional. They are very different from the normal. And life is, as it is, very ironic. To be frank, I do not know what personality, inverted comma, what personality is really is, and how can it be effectively molded? How can one mold one's personality is the question that the author is asking the awakener. Okay.
With a sympathetic tenderness, you responded. First, ask yourself whether you are ready to come out of the identity in which you have caged yourself. Yes, I wish to be free, but I don't know how. I will help you when you are 100% willing. I'm afraid that's asking too much of me, I replied. Could we start with 1%? You smiled and said, okay, but in this 1%, you should be 100% sincere. Believe me to the extent that I know I am. You want to know what this personality is? Yes, I said eagerly. But do you realize what a deep and subtle question it is? Not really. But today, while conversing with you, this word, which I have heard so many times, just popped into my head. Then pay attention to what I say, but I am not sure how far you will be able to follow. Anyway, listening to you has always helped my heart to touch something not understandable. Then, with a face that glowed with gracious, gentle majesty, you began. Each individual has a spark of is a spark of spirit apparently differentiated. The differentiation is only apparent, it is not real. Yet, these differentiations and divisions are infinite in number. Out of ignorance, each human being, although intrinsically a spark of the spirit, asserts separateness, which becomes the personality. Each individual spark, on its way to realizing its oneness with the spirit, develops a multitude of traits and behaviors which are regarded as characteristic of that specific personality.
Right. So now let us read this again because it's quite deep and profound. All right. This we did. Okay. He's asking what is personality and how can it be effectively molded? Now Baba says, okay, he says, with a sympathetic tenderness, we can see this characteristic aspect of Baba. He's very sympathetic, he's very tender, he's very understanding. He understands our non-understanding, and he comes at our level to make us understand what we need to understand. You responded. First, ask yourself whether you are ready to come out of the identity in which you have caged yourself. It is very important, like Baba says, it is not difficult to tread the spiritual path. What is important is to decide to tread the path. Means the decision has to be absolutely honest and sincere. So we are all caught up in our own identities, in our own mask that we wear. So Baba is asking, first ask yourself whether you are ready to come out of the identity in which you have caged yourself. Yes, I wish to be free, but I do not know how. I don't know how. Then Baba says, I will help you when you are 100% willing. That means from our side, we have to be 100% willing to change, willing to transform, willing to come out of the identity cage that we have formed around ourselves. Baba says you have to be willing to come out 100%, follow me. Now, what does he say? I am afraid that's asking too much of me. I replied, could we start with 1%? Just imagine, Baba is asking 100%, and here we are asking, can we start somewhere? Can we start with 1%? And see the response of the magnanimous master that he is. He says, you smiled and said, okay, okay. But this 1% should be 100% sincere. That is why Baba says, that 99% you may say that I have resigned, I have surrendered, but that 1% will then stretch itself into 100%, and we will not be able to surrender or resign ourselves to Baba. So this 1% of the sincerity and the honesty that I want to follow you is what Baba says. You need to, even if it is 1%, I need your honesty and sincerity. Believe me, to the extent that I know I am. See the languaging, non-committal. To the extent that, to the best of my knowledge and belief, we say this. No, in the legal terminology, we talk about in the best of my knowledge and belief. So he said, to the best of what I know, I think I'm going to be 1% sincere. 1% sincere, 100%, like that. But believe me, to the extent that I know I am. You want to know what this personality is? Yes, I said eagerly. But do you realize what a deep and subtle question it is? Because many times we ask questions without realizing the profundity of the answer, and even without being capable of absorbing the answer. So, but do you realize what a deep and subtle question it is? Not really. The thing that comes out very beautifully in these dialogues are that Bal Natuji is so honest, so childlike. He with Baba, he is absolutely straight and honest. This is it. This is what I am, with all my weaknesses and shortcomings. Not really. But today, while conversing with you, this word, which means personality, which I have heard so many times, just popped in my head. Then pay attention to what I say, but I am not sure how far you will be able to follow. Again, this is also one of the trademarks of our beloved Baba. Whenever he has to say something which is important, which is what important, he would say, pay attention to what I am saying. Pay attention to what I'm saying. Don't let your mind wander. Don't think about your family and business and all that over there. Be here, be in the now, that way. So pay attention. Anyway, listening to you has always helped my heart to touch something not understandable. So here he's talking about, I may not be able to understand it. I may not be able to conceive it. There is no conceptual element with me, but it has touched my heart. Whatever you say in your presence, even though I am not able to understand it, it is touching a deep core of my heart. Then, with a face that glowed with gracious, gentle majesty, you began. Each individual is a spark of spirit. Spirit is capital S, which means the whole, the being. You can call it existence, you can call it God, you can call it Atman, you can call it Paramatma, whatever. Each individual is a spark of spirit, apparently differentiated, not really differentiated, apparently, dikhawa, just the show, apparently differentiated. The differentiation is only apparent. It is not real. Yet, these differentiations and divisions are infinite in numbers. These differentiations would mean that specialization of one thing, characteristics, they are all different and they are infinite, they are unlimited. Out of ignorance, each human being, although intrinsically, that means essentially, that means at the core level, that means at the crux level, kernel level, reality level, essentially, intrinsically, I'll repeat the sentence, out of ignorance, each human being, although intrinsically a spark of the spirit, asserts separateness, which becomes the personality. That means personality is nothing but a assertion of separateness from the whole, from the soul, the drop soul from the oversoul. Each individual spark, on its way to realizing its oneness with the spirit, we are all on the way to realize that oneness, develops a multitude of traits and behaviors. Traits would be habit patterns, trends, whatever. Each one develops a multitude of traits and behaviors which are regarded as characteristic of that specific personality. Very beautiful sentence. Go ahead.
So instead of realizing its own true individuality, the spark of the spirit feels impelled to develop personality traits that it does not presently possess. In this way, the personality is continually either reformed or unwittingly deformed. Make sense, I chirped up. Although floundering already, this seems to be a surprisingly deep subject. Scarcely acknowledging my remark, You continued. Eventually, due to satiation, which is rare, or anguish, which is more common, one wishes to break out of the prison of personality. When the identification with personality is weakened, there is the possibility of a door opening to the path of longing to realize one's true individuality.
All right. Let's go a little deeper. So, instead of realizing its true individuality, capital I, that means the real individuality, the real I, the Aham Brahmasmi state. Instead of realizing its true individuality, the spark of the spirit, which means each one of us has the spark of the whole, the drop soul. The spark of the spirit feels impelled to develop personality traits, which means habit patterns and all that, that it does not presently possess. In other words, we all tend to develop certain traits which we do not possess. We want to become like this, we want to become like that, we want to follow somebody or something, but that somebody and something who is having its own independent personality is not yet experiencing individuality. So, so we are constantly in a state of flux. We are constantly changing our personality. We are constantly forming and sorry, yeah, based on sanskaras, of course, yeah. So again, I'm repeating. So instead of realizing its true individuality, which is capital I, the spark of the spirit feels impelled. What is the impulsion? We have done it in the past. The impulsion is because of the past samskaras, impression. It impels us to take a certain course of action. Feels impelled to develop personality traits that it does not presently possess. In this way, the personality is is continually either reformed or unwittingly. Unwittingly means unintentionally. Unwittingly, obliviously also is another word. You're oblivious that all the time we are aping somebody. We are wanting to become somebody instead of becoming that one body, which is the individuality. We are constantly wanting to become somebody. So here Baba says, in this way, the personality is continually either reformed or unwittingly, which, as I said, obliviously or unwittingly or unintentionally deformed. Reformed or deformed. Makes sense. I chirped up. Bal Natu, I chirped up. Although floundering, floundering would be saying it in a very clumsy way, not very confidently. Floundering already, this seems to be a surprisingly deep subject. Scarcely acknowledging my remark. Baba did not pay attention to what Bal Natuji says. Scarcely acknowledging my remark, you continue. Eventually, due to satiation we know, fullness, we keep on behaving in a certain pattern and we get fed up of that. We are satiated, we are full of that, and we change something else into something else. Due to satiation, which is rare, or anguish. Anguish again is a kind of an extreme distress or anguish, which is more common. One wishes to break out of the prison of personality. When the identification with the personality is weakened, that means when our attachment to our own personality, which obviously is ego based, separative I ego, whatever you call it, self-centered ego, when that attachment to the personality is weakened, when the attachment to our false I is weakened, there is a probability, there is a possibility of a door opening to the path of longing to realize one's true individuality. That means when our attachment to our false ego gradually diminishes. There is an opening of a path which will lead us to individuality. Opening of the door reminds me of one episode many years back, but I liked it very much. Uh, Without going into the frills, uh, there was a lady whom I had helped her somewhere, foreigner, and I had gone to see her off at the airport. This is way back in 1970, 71, 72, 73. I don't remember. And we were having a cup of coffee. And she said, Cyrus, I want to tell you something which is very profound. Now, I found it very profound. I don't know about you. She said that Mera, we all know that Mera invites specially ladies for a cup of tea and tells stories about Baba. Mehra told this lady that Baba had told Mehra. That's what Baba had told Mehra. Mehra is telling this lady is narrating to me. He said that irrespective of uh, how tightly you are fixed in a dilemma, means you are in a place where you feel that you just don't know how to come out of it. You are very tightly geared in an issue, in a problem. Keep remembering Baba. Keep taking Baba's name wholeheartedly. And you might find that there is a ring of problems and troubles, and you just cannot come out of it, just cannot. Then Mera says, Baba will see that the door from that circle is open and you can walk out through that door. In other words, similar to what now Bal Natu is saying, that irrespective of whatever you may be, a door will open. And for the door to open in a place where you feel that there is no door, it's all sealed, you can't just come out of it. But constant, wholehearted remembrance will open up a door, and through that door, you can escape, you can come out of it. So, here again, the same thing, that there is a possibility when your identification with the personality is weakened. And I would interpret that as when the ego is eliminated, not completely, but reduced. The false ego is reduced. There is a possibility of a door opening to the path of longing to realize one's true individuality. And true individuality again is realization. Okay.
So it seems necessary that I try to change my personality. I ventured. But how? Eyes filled with loving compassion, you answered. What is important is that while giving form to a so called new personality, you should be in a state of readiness to dismantle the earlier personality structure, if necessary, with its likes and dislikes. It takes real courage to do this, as there is a natural tendency to be satisfied with only small changes that impress and satisfy you, but which impede the inner flow of spontaneity that leads you to your real individuality. You gave me a probing look as though to see how much of this I was grasping, and continued. When you fashion and chisel the structure of a personality, regardless of how attractive and charismatic it may be to others, you must be ready to pull it down, even smash it. Beneath these ruins is your real individuality. The idea of becoming relates to personality, that of being to individuality. One may feel dissatisfied with one's personality and seek to change it to become something else. People call it growth. In reality, there is neither being nor becoming. The first apparent, timeless becoming is the formation of droppedness in me, the ocean. Thus, the drop is one with the ocean until the formation of an ephemeral bubble. This bubble goes on changing and in the human form is referred to as personality.
Okay.
This bubble creates the appearance of separation. It is a nothing that appears to have substance. So, the first becoming is the formation of a bubble over a drop. The final becoming is the conscious oceanness of the ocean itself as reality. All the innumerable intermediate states of a bubble consist of the becomings of personality which disguise the real nature of a drop as ocean.
All right. From whatever little my understanding is, basically we all are giving importance to the bubble, which is the personality of each one of us. And we change our bubble, we change our personality, we ape somebody else. We are somebody, for example, if I'm weak, I see somebody with good muscles and six pack abs and all that. So I change it. I go to gym. I do this exercise. I do running, whatever. And I have now changed my personality. Instead of being a weakling, I have now got a good body. So I'm just giving a very raw example. So in that way, we keep on changing our personality rather than concentrating and focusing on the real question of who am I, and in pursuit of answer to that question, what is required is not to transform or change the personality, but to smash the personality. And Baba says that in the ruins of this smashing, you will find your individuality. But we are so driven by the past samskaras, impelled by our own idea of what is growth. Because we say it's a growth. Now I'm becoming more and more, I'm growing in so many ways, whether it is financially, emotionally, whatever, socially, whatever it may be. We call it a growth. But Baba says it is from changing from one bubble into the other. We are changing and we call it growth, but that is the personality. And what is important is that we have to focus on individuality, and we can only reach individuality by breaking down the personality. So that is how I understood the chapter. So now let's read it again. So it seems necessary that I try to change my personality. I ventured. But how? Eyes filled with loving compassion, you answer. What is important is that while giving form to a so-called new personality, you should be in a state of readiness to dismantle the earlier personality structure. In other words, Baba, as I understand, you need to dismantle and not build over the earlier personality. You need to dismantle your earlier personality. To dismantle the earlier personality structure, if necessary, with its likes and dislikes. Basically, likes and dislikes, habit patterns, trends, characteristics. These are the ingredients of our personality, and we need to break through our likes and dislikes. It takes real courage to do this, as there is a natural tendency to be satisfied with only small changes that impress and satisfy you. We don't want to have a sweeping change, which we cannot, according to my understanding, unless we have a we have a master who is constantly after us to change. So Baba says, with small changes you are happy, but and you are satisfied, but which impedes means hinders, impedes the inner flow of spontaneity that leads you to the real individuality. You gave me a probing look as though to see how much of this I am grasping, and continued. When you fashion and chisel the structure of a personality, regardless of how attractive and charismatic it may be. Charismatic would mean charismatic is magnetic or personal charm. We say, oh, who's got a great charisma. So that's what it may, sorry, regardless of how attractive or charismatic it may be to others, you must be ready to pull it down, even smash it. Beneath these ruins is your real individuality. We have a certain personality, we have a certain magnetic personality, and what we call as a charisma, and all charisma. So that Baba says needs to be broken down, because that is only an apparent aspect, and that itself is what separates us from the whole. The idea of becoming is in italics. The idea of becoming relates to personality, that of being to individuality. Being, we all say human being. So we just have to be. Talking about these two things come to my mind when Baba talks about personality, which I would interpret is as connected with our aham or ego, self-centeredness. Adi K. Irani would say, that Baba had this habit of, really praising somebody so much, sky high, sky high. And the very next moment, to some of us, he would give such a tight smash that we would come breaking down. In other words, he would smash the false ego. And we find ourselves so fortunate that Baba raises us and then drops us down, But there are few who are still hanging around in that. So they are the unfortunate ones, and we are the fortunate ones that we were brought down to the ground and really our ego was smashed and broken to pieces. So that is the one is the big meaning of becoming, and one is being. We all know that we are supposed to be human beings, but instead of human beings, we are, we human doings. We keep doing things, and we are also human havings. We do certain things, and we have. I earn a lot of money. I have so many houses, so many cars, so many whatever. That means doing and having. But the important thing is being. There's a very nice other sentence in English, nothing to do with Baba, which says, just be, just be, and the things will transform itself. You don't have to run about, you don't have to make any effort. Just be in your beingness, and everything will come to order. That requires a lot of courage and wisdom. Rakesh has a question. Yeah, Rakesh, go ahead.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.
You just said that within the ruins, when we have dismantled the old personality and it is in shatters, within those ruins lies our real personality. This is what you just said.
Yeah.
Could you explain more on this?
See, basically, I'll put it this way, that there is only real individuality, which is the real I. And on top of that real I, we have built a pyramid of the false I. I am this, I am that, I am man, I am woman, I am Easterner, I am Westerner, I am rich, I am poor, and all that. So that is the personality, and the reality is the real I. So unless and until the personality is smashed, you cannot reach the real I, which is in the debris, of the false I. But again, I would hasten to say that personally, I feel it is beyond us to really smash our false personality. It is only Baba who can do it. All that we can do is just hang on to Baba, hold on to Baba's Daman with both hands, and keep pleading and telling him that Baba, do whatever you feel best. Pleading and pleasing, okay, and tell. Otherwise, I don't. This is fine, but I don't think we should even risk breaking, because we cannot know. We don't even know how to break our personality. The only thing that we know and which we should master, I feel, which we may not have, many may not have, I haven't yet, is to keep on remembering Baba wholeheartedly and as often as we can in whatever we may be doing. and then leave the rest to him to smash or to do whatever it is. It is none of our concern. All these samskaras, impressions, and all that, it's way beyond us to really calculate and work upon. It's all up to Baba to do that. Okay, Rakesh?
Okay, thank you.
Somewhat, huh? So here Baba says, the idea of becoming is in italics, relates to personality, that of being to individuality. Just be. One may feel dissatisfied with one's personality and seek to change it to become something else. People call it growth. That's what I said. You want to, but you keep changing. Whatever you are playing in, you are playing in the domain of illusion. You are playing in the domain of shadows. You have not yet touched the reality, the truth, the individuality. We keep on changing the bubble of our personality. In reality, there is neither being nor becoming. Means in reality, there is nothing. You experience yourself as the only one, the real one. So that all these things just fall apart. There is no becoming, there is no being. The first apparent timeless becoming is the formation of dropness in me, the ocean. We all know. This is now we are talking something about God speaks, that the dropness was formed within the ocean. That is me, that is Baba. Thus, the drop is one with the ocean until the formation of an ephemeral bubble. Ephemeral, transient, impermanent, phenomenal, temporary. Right? So Baba says, thus the drop is one with the ocean until the formation of an ephemeral bubble. This bubble goes on changing like vegetable, fish, bird, animal, human being. Goes on changing, and in the human form is referred to as personality. So personality is nothing but the bubble around the reality. This bubble creates the appearance of separation, not real separation, appearance of separation. It is nothing, inverted comma. It is a nothing that appears to have substance, but it has no substance. It is just a shadow. So the first becoming is the formation of a bubble over a drop, that first becoming. The final becoming is the conscious oneness of the ocean itself as reality. The final becoming is the bubble bursts and you realize I am the ocean. All the innumerable intermediate state of a bubble consists of the becomings of personality, which distinguish the real nature of a drop as ocean. That means which disguise the real nature of a drop as ocean. In other words, in reality, there is nothing but Paramatma, but the ocean. The drop is an apparent thing. The Atma is an apparent thing. There is no reality or truth in Atma. Atma in reality is Paramatma. Go ahead.
Radiating charm and majesty, you concluded. The question is whether you wish to accomplish something or long to become nothing, to make a big splash in the ocean of falseness, or go deep, unseen, and unsung to find the pearl of individuality.
I would like to read this, then I mean, the question is whether you wish to accomplish something or long to become nothing. You want to become something or you long to become nothing, which means the real nothing. When you become the real nothing, you automatically, simultaneously become the real everything. To make a big splash, big name, big fame, lot of money, whatever, to make a big splash in the ocean of falseness, or go deep, unseen and unsung to find the pearl of individuality. What is our choice? That's what Baba is saying. Go ahead.
My eyes did not wander once from your countenance. Even in my confusion, your deep, wondrous words were a light to my heart. In spite of my incapacity, you were still in a mood for explanations. Love overrules discrimination. You went on. Personality is like a cage. Individuality is like a bird perched within the cage. No matter how many changes are made in the shape and size of the cage or the materials it is made of, the cage remains a prison for the bird. Yet, these kinds of changes are not without purpose. The longing to soar freely in my immense expanse heightens one's perception and deepens the receptivity of the heart. Eventually, more and more bars of the cage being bent again and again begin
Begin.
to break, and a moment comes when the individual gives up the effort of reforming the personality and instead surrenders to my will. This leads to the final metamorphosis of personality into true individuality. This is the state where the bubble totally disappears as the drop merges in the ocean, my reality.
We read this whether you want to do this. My eyes did not wander once from your countenance. Countenance is being faced. Even in my confusion, your deep, wondrous words were a light to my heart. That's what he said earlier, that I am confused. My mind is not able to grasp, but your words are directly giving light to my heart. Although I don't understand a thing of what you are talking about, but it is lightening my heart. In spite of my incapacity, you were still in a mood for explanations. Love overrules discrimination. If Baba had used discrimination, he would say, okay, enough for today. You are not able to follow what I'm trying to say. But love, his love was so overwhelming that love overrules discrimination. Here, the sentence that you are in a mood for explanation, I'm reminded of how sometimes when Baba is in a proper mood, there were a few people, especially like Dr. Ghani, even Sarosh and all that, Ramju Abdullah, they would always be very attentive to Baba's mood. And when they find that Baba is in a mood to talk in the sense to give explanation to some esoteric subject, spiritual subject, they would keep on slowly try to draw out the knowledge from Baba. They would ask certain questions and Baba would give the response. So they would, in a sense, I wouldn't use the word trick, but Baba, of course, knows that they are but they would do that, and that is why we are today benefiting from so many discourses, because they were the ones who asked so many questions of Baba. But here is a different ball game altogether, because he himself is in a mood to explain. Then Baba goes on to say, personality is like a cage. Individuality is like a bird perched within the cage. Just now I gave the example of a pyramid. So this is another example which Baba says that individuality is a bird which is caged, and the cage is the personality. No matter how many cages are made in the shape and size, sorry, how many changes are made in the shape and size of the cage. The cage may be big, cage may be small. Cage may be of iron, it may be of steel, it may be of whatever material. Changes of shapes and size of the material it is made of, the cage remains a prison for the bird. So irrespective of how many times we change our personality from poor to rich, from unknown to anybody and becoming a very popular figure and all that, it is all a personality. It is all a cage. Yet these kinds of changes are not without purpose. The whole idea of changing the cages and changing of personality is that one fine day, after we have exhausted all the samskaras which we have brought, we realize that it's a cage. What is, I've got lots of money, but what is there in it? I can't carry it on the other side. I've got lots of name and fame. What name it is? And ultimately it will come on my grave, on my tomb shrine, that tombstone, whatever. So here Yet these kinds of changes are not without purpose. The longing to soar freely in my immense expanse heightens one's perceptions and deepens the receptivity of the heart. In other words, even in the process of changing the personality, changing the cages, at the back of it, we must have longing to know the truth, longing to become one with Baba, longing to know the secret of life and death, longing to know the answer to the question of who am I. That is what Baba says, that be in the world, but not of it. Enjoy everything, but do not be attached to it. At the back of the mind, all this is Baba's. That's what Baba says in My Wish also. So here said the longing to soar freely in my immense expanse, that longing, it will heighten one's perceptions and deepen the receptivity of the heart. Eventually, more and more bars of the cage being bent again and again. That means all the experiences that we have got, the bars are bending now. Okay, it doesn't attract me. It is not of any value. I was very rich, doesn't matter. I am very handsome, doesn't matter. I am very famed. No, I got good name, doesn't matter. It doesn't hold any attraction. So bars are bent, begins to break, and a moment comes when the individual gives up the effort of reforming the personality. Now you are not bothered about reforming or growing, as is a growth, reforming the personality, and instead surrenders to my will. This leads to the final metamorphosis of personality, transformation of personality into true individuality. This is the state where the bubble totally disappears as the drop merges in the ocean, my reality. So it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. When we have experienced all the experiences that we are experiencing, even at the time of experiencing all the experiences that we are experiencing, at the back of our mind, our remembrance should be of our Lord, Meher Baba. So when we are constantly hooked on to that name, hooked then on to that form, then even though we are changing personality, this, that, all that, time may come when the bars of the cage will bend sooner than later, and then we will automatically free ourselves when we finally surrender to Him. Is that all? Yeah.
I'm afraid this is getting too deep for me. I gasped. I feel like I'm drowning. You laughed. Then let us come to the surface. Let's go back to the clown in your story. He was on the verge of a very important realization. Acting, whether in life or on stage, consists of wearing the clothes and the faces of others. This kind of skill may amuse and enchant or lighten the stress of some people in an audience. But can such acting heal one's personal wounds or the agonies of an awakened heart? You gave me a compassionate look and asked, how long will you dress yourself in borrowed clothes? Isn't this a way of fooling others at the cost of deforming your own personality? Learn to take off these borrowed costumes, however bright and beautiful they may be. Cast them off and laugh at your foolishness for having clung to them for so long. This will initiate and speed the journey to find true individuality. Thus, the process of reforming personality continues until personality is transformed into real individuality, effortlessly manifesting the will of my reality. Deeply engrossed, I closed my eyes and tried to touch what had seeped into me. Personality, individuality, reality. Personality, the changing bubble. Individuality, the enduring drop. Reality, the everlasting ocean. I remained withdrawn in contemplation until I felt you slap on my shoulder. I opened my eyes to see you smiling at me with a look of amusement. Come back to your senses, you said, and tell me what became of the clown and the psychologist. I presume they are on their way to meeting you somewhere, sometime. You beamed with obvious delight. That's right. Someday they must.
All right. All right. Now, Bal Natuji says, I'm afraid this is all getting too deep for me. I gasped. Gasp means when you breathe laboriously. I feel like I'm drowning. You laughed. Then let's come to the surface. Let's go back to the clown in your story. He was on the verge of a very important realization. Acting, whether in life or on stage. In life, we do act a lot. In life, we do wear so many masks, depending upon whom we are interacting with. Our behavior with our friends would be different from our behavior with the seniors, with our behavior with Baba lovers. We are very lovey-dovey, Jai Baba, hugging and kissing. With our society members, with our office staff. So all we always wear mask and behave accordingly. So he was on the verge of, whether in life or on stage, consists of wearing the clothes and faces of others. This faces of others would mean that the face that would gel well with the others. Or also we wear faces of others means we want to become not we are, but what somebody else is. In other words, I use the word aping somebody else. This kind of skill may amuse and enchant or lighten the stress of some people in an audience. But can such acting heal one's personal wounds or the agonies of an awakened heart? Here, awakened heart, the word awaken may not be in terms of spiritual awakening, but a stimulating heart or a stimulated heart. You gave me a compassionate look and asked, how long will you dress yourself in borrowed clothes? That means we are trying to please others. We are trying to behave in a manner that we are able to impress others. How long will you dress yourself in borrowed clothes? Isn't this a way of fooling others at the cost of your deforming your own personality? Because you are not yourself. When you are yourself as a personality, you don't care about pleasing others or aping others, but you do keep changing your personality. There's no doubt about it. But in that changing of or transforming of personality on your own, there comes a time when you drop the personality and come to individuality. So here, isn't this a way of fooling others at the cost of deforming your own personality? I would put a word called hypocrisy. Maybe we tend to become hypocrites when we are interacting with different people. Learn to take off these borrowed costumes, however bright and beautiful they may be. Cast them off and laugh at your foolishness of having clung to them too long. This will initiate means to start, begin. This would initiate and speed the journey to find true individuality. Thus, the process of reforming personality continues until personality is transformed into real individuality, effortlessly manifesting the will of my reality. In other words, gradually we must let go our personality. Gradually we must focus on our individuality or the reality that is within us, not to do things to please others or to impress others. Just be what we are as an individual. I would look at it that way. Okay. Thus, the process of reforming personality continues until Personality is transformed into real individuality, effortlessly manifesting the will of my reality. That can only happen, this is my take, while following the dictates of personality. We are not letting go the hand of truth, the hand of remembrance of Baba while we are doing whatever we are doing. This is how I would look at it. Deeply engrossed, I closed my eyes and tried to touch what had seeped into me: personality, individuality, reality. Personality, the changing bubble; individuality, the enduring drop; reality, the everlasting ocean. I remained withdrawn in contemplation until I felt you slapped me on the shoulder. I opened my eyes to see you smiling at me with a look of amusement. Come back to your senses, you said, and tell me what became of that clown and the psychologist. The Bal Natu ji says, I presume they are on their way to meeting you somewhere, sometime. We are all on the way to meeting Baba somewhere, sometime. Because the whole uh, on the drawing board, the whole thing, the whole scheme of things is such that everyone and everything ultimately merges into the truth, into the reality, into the ocean, and experience the oneness. Either you may experience it in your physical form, and that is called God realization, infinite knowledge, power, and bliss, or you may do it after you drop your physical body, one of the aspects of Najat Mukti, where you only experience infinite bliss, but you do experience oneness with the ocean, the truth, the reality, Baba. And you beamed with obvious delight. That's right, he says, Baba says, someday they must. That means all of us must finally merge into the divinity, into the reality, into the oneness, into the blissfulness of Baba, that is. Any questions, anything to share, anything to, nothing. Somebody, nothing. Somebody told me, somebody passed the comment, and I appreciate that. You just say anybody to say, anybody comment, and close. Give them some time to think. In other forums, people talk. There's so much of interaction and all that, but you just keep moving. You don't give them enough time and scope to frame a question and ask. So following the suggestion that my good friend had given, I'm just saying, do you still have any questions? Anybody has any questions or even any sharing? Nothing. Great. Okay. Jai Baba. Thank you, Baba. Jai Baba to all of you. Avatar Meher Baba.
बाबा की जय
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Meher Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.